The part about the earlier comment you made about not really like being into players' personal business, fighting to have stories not become public. And I am curious, not just on First Take, but in anything you've written, anything you've done. Is there particular stories or a particular take that you've had about a player that you've then regretted later on?
I regretted the beef that me and Glenn Big Dog Robinson had. As I reflect on it, I had to take the brunt of the blame for that. I'm the professional, and the professional, because even though he was a grown man, he's a professional.
What was sort of the context
We had a
of
beef
that?
because Randy Ayers got fired.
Okay.
From the Philadelphia 76ers. And I had a real problem with it because I happened to have known that at the time that he was dismissed, and I'm not bringing it up to throw any shade on anybody because we dropped that a long time ago. But the issue that I had is I felt like there was disrespect accorded to him, and that led to Billy King and the 76ers believing he wasn't the guy because he didn't have the respect of the players. And I had a problem with that because he was an African-American man, and the level of disrespect that I felt was accorded to him was not right. And I said that, and because of that, Glenn and I had a beef for years. And then one day I saw his son. And his son came over to me and talked to me and was just such a gentleman and the whole bit. And I was like, damn, no, Glenn's a good father. There's no way his son would come up and talk with me if this man was behind the scenes doing all of this nonsense or anything like that. And more importantly, I didn't want his son to ever think that because of any disagreement I had with his father, that would reflect on him in any way in terms of my courage if it came to that. And so from that moment forward, I just said, drop it, own what your part in all of this disagreement is, let it go. Glenn's a good guy. Y'all just got a disagreement, and that's okay. And the other one was Allen Iverson. It's hard to admit this as an objective observer, a journalist, commentator, now all of this other stuff. But I love Allen Iverson. He's like a little brother to me. And covering him, being an African-American from the streets of New York, knowing his story and knowing what he endured, we went through a lot together covering him. I don't believe I'm sitting here in this position today if it were not for Allen Iverson. Covering him was a separate beat in and of itself. When he was a star in this league, the only person more popular than him, one could easily argue, was Michael Jordan. That's how popular Allen Iverson was. And he didn't always do the right things. And sometimes that stuff was hard to write. And a whole bunch of stuff I didn't say and I didn't write. But sometimes it left you no choice. And one time, the last time, his last stint with the Philadelphia 76ers, we didn't speak for 2 years because he was upset that I had written an article about him. He was away from the team. Supposedly his kid was sick or whatever, but then they saw him partying. And he didn't know any of this, but one of my editors said, I thought you said Allen Iverson was with his family. I said, he is. That's what he told me, whatever. He turned around the computer and had video of Iverson surrounded by hundreds of people, And he said, you write it or we'll take it out of your hands and we'll have our department write it. And so I had to write the story about how he wasn't with the team and et cetera, et cetera. And he was incredibly hurt. And we couldn't connect for a couple of years. And I started hearing that if y'all saw each other, it would be a problem, man. He won't put his hands on you, whatever. Well, that's the worst thing somebody could say to me. Because, I'm not scared of anybody. But more importantly, I got boys just like everybody else. So I went down to Atlanta looking for him. And I had a few of my boys with me, and I went down there looking for him, and I found him. And we met up. And it wasn't any of that. He said, man, I don't care about the article. is that it came from you. And when he said that, I felt this small.
Yeah.
Because I got it. I didn't know. He has a job as a player. I have a job as a reporter. And that was it. And by that time, I was a columnist, et cetera, et cetera. And I looked at it as that. And I never thought I'm here thinking he had a problem with the story. He had no problem with the story. He said, I deal with that every day. It's the fact that your name was on the byline. And I really didn't say much.
Yeah.
But when I saw the hurt in his eyes, the story wasn't worth it to me.
So I think this is one of the challenges with being in media, being a journalist, even to some degree, in my case, being a former ex-player whose friends and former teammates and peers that I respect are still playing, and you build relationships, and it's, I think, challenging to be fair and balanced and impartial and unbiased towards people that you respect or that you have a relationship with. And to me, that's a perfect example of that. And that's really one of the main challenges to your point about having these relationships with different people across the league. That really is the biggest challenge to me.
But it's never a challenge for me to talk about your game. Like, I walk up to you in a heartbeat. You play like garbage, you don't want to see me on TV the next day. Because I'm going to say so. But that was his personal life. That was the challenge.
Okay, but not just personal life then. Because, when CP had a Game 7, I came on and I said, he sucked.
Exactly.
CP sucked for 5 straight games.
Exactly.
I love CP.
And I
don't
applauded
think
you for that.
Yeah.
Because that's what you have to do when it comes to their game, because everyone's watching that.
But hold on. Then it becomes about another conversation about somebody's legacy.
Right.
Another conversation about somebody's money.
Right.
How much they deserve. And that's where I think the challenge lies. It's
challenge.
not reading a box score. It's not watching a game.
Right.
It's the comparison of players. It's when we talk about a guy's contract and what they're worth. That's where I think there's some challenges. And truthfully, that's where I think some people have run into some problems.
Yes, you're right. I don't think you're wrong at all. For me, it's never been a problem in that regard, though, because how you start off the relationships matter. If I come to you and I say, this is who we are, I have to write about what I see you do on the court or the field of play. That's my story to tell. Now, you can give me quotes. You can give me your perspective, and I'll quote you. But whatever I believe I saw, you're going to be hard-pressed to convince me that I saw something different. You got a shot, and I'm going to listen. But what I saw is what the hell I saw. That's entirely different when it comes to off the court or field of play. Yeah. Now, that's your story. And so I've always made sure that players who know me understand that. If you don't know Stephen A. Smith as a professional athlete, that's your problem. Because I make myself available. There's no athlete on the planet that can say they can't find me. If I'm talking about you, I'm the easiest person to find. I'm not hiding, because that's when it's really, really weak and incredibly unfair to that athlete. You have to make sure that athlete has access to you if they want it. If you don't want it, it's at your peril. I've had players come up to me, you bitch, fucking asshole, I hate your ass. Okay? Knock yourself out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not losing any sleep over it, because all you had to do was talk to me. And no matter what I feel, I have an obligation as a professional and as a human, not only to hear your side, but to make sure I convey your perspective, even if I disagree. JJ Redick and I come on First Take. Yes, we've disagreed. Tell me one time where I've said, no, you can't express your point, but I can express mine. I've never done that. I always make sure everyone gets heard. That's my obligation, to make sure that you're heard and to make sure you get a fair shake. Not that I have to agree with you. Yeah. Not when it comes to your professional performance. Your personal life is different, because we don't know what goes on in the walls of your home, your personal life, figuratively speaking, whatever. We don't know that. That's your story to tell. But field of court of play, oh, no, that's mine.